Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to be talking about Abstraction because for the first time in forever, I finally decided to check out that amazing digital circus and I gotta say, it's good. However, one thing that I gotta say about this show is the fact that it's literally a horror movie that is presented as a kid's show. If you were on the outside looking in, you would never be able to figure out that this is literally nightmare fuel. And nothing says this more than the concept of becoming an abstract, which I'm going to explain in great detail within the next 8 minutes, and I'm totally not saying this in order to pan out the episode. But in all seriousness, becoming an abstract is a fate that literally any person who comes into the digital circus, or in this case the digital dimension, must suffer through. And yes, I said everybody, not specific people. No, every single person who comes into the digital circus will eventually suffer the fate of abstraction. But in order to understand why, we first need to understand exactly how you become an abstract in the first place. Now, if you're a Dark Souls fan, you're most definitely aware of what hollowing is. Well, it basically follows a similar pattern to that. Basically, when abstraction takes place, what it basically is your mind completely shattering to the point where you basically lose yourself entirely and can never return. Now granted, you're still physically there technically, however, obviously your mind is gone and you can never reclaim it no matter who talks to you or what you in particular do. You are stuck as that monster for eternity. However, it's not just a mental thing. Your body will actually morph into a gigantic multi-eyed monster, in which case you will basically become a danger to anyone near you. Your physical body will become an unstable virus, in which case every single thing that you touch will become corrupted and will begin to basically glitch consistently. And let's say one of the things that you ended up touching was another living participant in the digital circus, then they're going to be in extreme pain for an extended period of time unless Kane helps them, in which case they will just continuously be like that forever. And considering that the process is incredibly painful, if left unchecked, there's a decent chance they could eventually become an abstract themselves. However, in order to become an abstract, one thing remains incredibly clear, and it's that it's 99% mental. In order to basically become an abstract, you yourself have to completely give up all hope and then completely go insane. Raglafod stated that one of the major ways this can happen is if you attempt to go after something that is literally impossible, an unachievable goal if you will, such as escaping the digital circus under most circumstances. Upon realizing that whatever goal that you're continuously trying to go for is impossible, that could theoretically flat out just break you and cause you to become an abstract. On the other hand, you can still become an abstract if you begin to slowly lose hope or purpose and just give up. Basically, the only way to stave off becoming an abstract is to hold on to hope and somehow ground yourself in reality without completely losing your mind, which is way easier said than done, as pretty much every single member in the digital circus is slightly unhinged and a little bit insane. Something that I can't entirely blame them for, which I will be discussing in just a moment, but first let's actually talk about what happens if you do end up becoming an abstract. What exactly happens to you? And now I already mentioned how you become a multi-eyed monster and completely lose your mind, but there is more to it. Firstly, every single abstract that we have seen seems to still abide by the laws of the digital circus and by extension the digital dimension. What that basically means is that they do not sleep, they do not eat, they do not get tired, and on top of that, they cannot be killed. What this basically means is that once an abstract is created, they will continuously go on a rampage indefinitely until stopped. Which, unless you're Kane, is pretty much impossible to do because they are significantly stronger than you and their rampage will result in them pretty much corrupting everything they touch and destroying any prop they can find. However, what makes this particularly horrifying is the fact that this entire transformation cannot be undone by Kane because it is a transformation that is created by the mind, the one thing that he cannot control. And the very fact that he cannot manipulate the mind of this creature shows that the original mind of the creature that transformed into the abstracted basically is still there somewhere, meaning that to some degree these creatures are in fact sentient and possibly still have slight memories of who they once were. However, obviously they can't do anything about this situation. However, what makes this all the more horrifying is that since they cannot be killed and since they are simply stronger than pretty much anything that can hold them, Kane pretty much just puts them in a dark hole forever. They will never escape and will spend their time in the abyss for all time because they can never die of old age, meaning that if they are slightly sentient, they are still experiencing this horrible madness forever. Take a shot every single time I repeat a word. Don't actually do that. I swear to God, you will die. But moving aside, I said before that every single member of the digital circus will one day become an abstracted. What exactly did I mean? Now, it is my personal belief that every single member of the digital circus will become an abstracted eventually, simply due to how becoming an abstracted works. Basically, every single character that we have met has been staving off becoming an abstracted simply by utilizing the idea of friends and family as well as just trying to stay sane. Here's the issue: that cannot last forever, unlike their physical bodies. Again, anyone in the digital dimension does not age. They do not require food, water, or rest, and they will literally persist for eternity, which also means they must maintain their sanity forever, and you can probably only imagine where this is going. It doesn't really matter what they ground themselves with, maintaining your sanity forever in the digital circus is pretty much impossible to do. The digital circus is already mentally straining and maddening. The entire place is a maze with doors leading to completely different places almost every single time depending on where you are, aside from very specific rooms. The laws of physics don't entirely work here, and on top of that there are various monsters that will horribly consume or torture you. Even though they can't kill you, it's still something that happens somewhat regularly. Also, while this is taking place in a pocket dimension that you can never escape, as memories of your past life slowly fade away and you eventually develop a form of dementia. And if not that, at the very least you'll slowly develop some kind of insanity. Additionally, grounding yourself to reality would be very difficult even if you factor in the idea of friends or family, because slowly but steadily they will eventually become abstracted as well, which will result in you losing your anchor, which could cause you to abstract as well. In fact, I think the best way in terms of avoid abstraction would be what exactly Jax is currently doing, which is being a dick to every single person he comes into contact with. It worked for Patches and it can work for him. The only issue is this still will not last forever. It doesn't matter what you ground onto, it will eventually stop working. And nothing says this more than Kinger. And here's the thing, he's been here for the longest period of time and he's utilized all of the strategies that I talked about previously, aside from being a dick. And the only thing that I have to tell you is just look at him. He is incredibly unstable and by all means is most definitely going to be the next one to abstract under most circumstances. Memories come and go and he has no idea what he's doing 90% of the time and forgets the names of other people there consistently. And again, he utilized all the strategies that I talked about previously in terms of anchoring himself, and yet he is still barely able to hold off insanity. Pomni herself has only been here for 2 days and has already begun showing some minor signs of insanity, or at the very least mental damage. So overall, I believe that abstraction isn't really a looming threat, but instead a guarantee that will one day happen to every single member of the digital circus, with the horrifying fate more so being a slow burn, as slowly over time their humanity, memories, as well as their loved ones are stripped from them the longer that they stay in this dimension. But anyway, that's all I got for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thanks again to my patrons on Patreon. We got Chrysor, Cap G, Jack, Max Schubert, Trolley Unicorn, Christopher Robinson, Red Skeleton, and the Mnemonic Sailor. Thank you guys so much for supporting me in my time of need, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye.